What is going on? A question I get asked quite a lot, or not quite a lot, that's a lie. Question I get asked sometimes when people say quite a lot, usually means sometimes, maybe twice, what lifting gear I wear. Because sometimes on my videos, I'm putting wraps on, putting knee sleeves on, changing my shoes, putting on belts, basically just becoming Robocop. And that is basically just to stop my joints and my ankles and my knees and stuff hurting. So I thought I'd quickly do a video on kind of the top four or five things I use to improve my lifting. Number one, lifters. I use probably, what is this, about a 2-inch heel. I use these solid Addy Power lifters, which have a bit of flex in the toe, but aren't as tight and aren't as solid as some of the other lifters. I used to use the Addy Power ones. They had a smaller, softer heel, but I didn't quite like the angle that it put my ankles at, so I couldn't quite get into the deepest squat. My hips just didn't like it. So by elevating my heels on a plate, I realized I need a bit of a bigger heel. So I went out and purchased these. So you can see, quite a chunky heel. Best purchase I've ever made for my squatting. I use them for Olympic lifting. I've had them for about a year now. As you can see, they're not that worn. Do you know what? I actually got these secondhand off CrossFit, powerlifting or CrossFit Facebook site, because I couldn't find them in my size because they were sold out everywhere. And I got them for about 100 quid, 90 quid. I think they're about 170 when they first came out. Number one, get yourself a decent pair of lifters with a solid bottom. Number two, another pair of footwear. So when I come to do my Metcons and my fitness and my kind of circuit training, bodybuilding training and squatting, I use flat Metcons. See those? These are pretty sick Metcons. These are the ones you can write on. They're called whiteboard something, but you can write on them. But again, flat heel, still quite hardish, and the flexibility so you can run if you want to, sprint, jump, plyometrics, whatever you want to do. Flat shoe, perfect. Number three, good and bad, SBD knee sleeves. These are ones I used for powerlifting before, so they are mega tight. They are 7mm, I think. I've got the stats on here. They are 7mm high grade neoprene knee sleeves. They're sold as a pair and they cost $59.99. This is on their SBD website. They are a great knee sleeve. If you are powerlifting and if you're doing Olympic lifting, they are fantastic for that because they're a bit of a crossover. It allows you to have a bit more of a spring up out of the hole, but also keeps your knees warm and compact. If you're using them in CrossFit WODs, or if you're using them in Metcons, or if you're using them to do fitnessy stuff in, they are quite thick, they are quite heavy, and they are quite hard to get on when you're sweaty. So I personally use these, but I've also just purchased a pair of, I can't pronounce it properly, Rebrand I think, where they're a bit of a thinner, bit of a smaller knee sleeve. They're kind of the rich thrown-in ones. So that means that I've got some knee sleeves for powerlifting in, and I've got some knee sleeves for doing my Olympic lifting and Metcon in too. So that was number three. Number four is wraps. So I do use little wraps for lifting. I only ever really, these are just Body Max ones. To be honest, I think I found these in the gym. More than likely found these in the gym, a pair of them. You go through tons of these, they either break or you lose them. But I use those when I'm doing hypertrophy. I also use them when I'm doing snatch grip movements, because obviously when your hands are quite wide, it is quite difficult to keep a hook grip on a snatch movement, RDL, deadlift, a snatch. Or when you're doing more than a few reps, because once again, if you're in a snatch grip, it can be quite uncomfortable if you've not got the most flexible and mobile wrists like I have. Again, when you come to do bodybuilding training, if you want to make sure you're using all your back and not your biceps and stuff and your forearms, then a what they call wrist wrap is ideal. You're not a pussy, you're not weak, it's just something to facilitate the other areas of your body. It's the best way I can put it. Number five, wrist supports. So if you're like me and you have, like I've just said in the previous one, not the best mobility in your wrists, and sometimes you just want to be stronger. When I used to powerlift, I used to use triple ply wrist supports, and they were big, thick orange things which used to put more kind of support around my wrists. So when I'm putting 200 kilo bench through it, it used to help dramatically. It used to keep my wrists at the right angle and used to be able to drive through my chest, through my triceps, and not have any kind of give in the wrist. So when I've come to do Olympic lifting and ollie lifting and lighter deadlifts and lighter benches and lighter things like that, because I'm not going as heavy as I did when I'm powerlifting, I still like to have a good support around my wrist. It just keeps it rigid and keeps you in shape, but also offers just a bit of support around here and keeps everything kind of nice and warm too. So my fifth thing would be wrist supports. They are good. These again are just basic. They've got a lot of elasticity in them and they are just kind of dead simple. I do have number six. Number 6, belt. This is actually my girlfriend's belt. This is 1, 2, 3, that's what I wear it on. So I can just get my head through it. I have got a skinny little waist. This is a powerlifting belt, but also it can be used for Olympic lifting-ish, but I did find out the other day that this was no good to do snatches in, because as I snatched, the bar caught on here and nearly took out my nose. If you follow my Instagram, you would have seen it the other day. So this is a dead thick, inch thick belt made out of solid leather. It is very, very good for powerlifting. Offers a lot of support around your lower back and inter-abdominal pressure, but I wouldn't recommend it for doing Olympic lifting. I'd use one of those Rogue or kind of one of the leather, not leather, the cloth style ones, which look kind of flimsy, but they do help a lot when they come to Olympic lifting because it stays in quite tight to your body. But for powerlifting, I do use this, and for when I'm doing heavy lifts, I do use this. Last thing in my kit bag, so number 7. Shorts. Simple. So I'm going to finish this video, shorts. So that is what's inside of my kit bag, and that would be my 6 things I use when I go lifting. It's in my bag or it's in the boot of my car, and I just use them when I have different style workouts. That whole kind of collection probably cost me 150 quid maybe, but it's helped me from, it's prevented injury, it's made me stronger, and it's just made me a better lifter. If you enjoyed that video, please hit the thumbs up. If you have any comments or you want to say anything about it, or you kind of have a better thing which could benefit the watchers, followers, subscribers, whatever you call them, comment below. Peace.